Shall I leave you to just? Do you want to go ahead and do an intro then,
Sure.
or should we
Yeah.
just sit awkwardly like you guys do?
The awkward intro is the best.
It's kind of everyone needs it, you know.
Yeah, no, exactly. So we're already recording now.
Yeah, it's all being recorded.
So I mean, here we go. That was the intro. There we
Perfect.
go. Yeah. So hey everyone, it's been a little while since we've done it in AWIC, and I'm having Mike over here helping me from CubeCast. We recently partnered with CubeCast because I think what they're doing is cool, and Mike and I have gotten talking, and he's here today helping me bring the AWICs back. It's been so incredibly busy with lots of projects that I've been working on, and just need a little bit of a break from content creation. But we are back with lots of juicy hardware gossip, as Mike likes to talk about,
Yeah,
and
loads of it.
some other just cool topics. Yeah, a lot has happened since last AWIC, and I know Mike, you're dying to go over some of the GAN rumors. So, which one do you want to talk about first? All the new UV coded stuff, or more 15?
Well, there's just so much hardware going on at the moment. So yeah, I've just done a bunch of videos on my channel. SpeedCube NZ is the channel, and CubeCast is my show. We've just done a ton of videos about GAN hardware because the rumor mill with GAN is out of control at the moment. With the GAN 15, the new GAN 4x4. The GAN Square One, I think I've made 4 videos talking about this GAN Square One that still doesn't exist, and I don't know if anyone's actually really seen yet, you know, but people have them, but it's still just like this spectral cube. And I think there's also a GAN, very fresh rumor that there is a GAN 6x6 actively being worked on as well. So that's what's going on. As well as that, we've got more FTOs announced. We've also got, like, 2021 is happening again. We've seen UV versions of a whole bunch of cubes from 21, which we'll get to talking to later. But here's the thing, like, I spend a lot of my time raking around on Reddit and Instagram, just looking for scraps of information. And that's where I've got to with particularly the GAN 15 so far. But and I suppose what's important is the biggest thing that we've been talking about this week. I made a video on it, and UK Cuber made a video on it as well. The biggest revelation we've had from Chris Mills in his trip to China is that the test versions of the GAN 15 did not have adjustable magnets. And you've
Yeah.
actually got one arriving tomorrow, right?
Yes, I will be able to confirm tomorrow, or maybe I won't because I might be under strict GAN NDA. Which that was another thing too. I heard that this time around NDAs were actually distributed to some people. Did that make its way to you too?
No, I didn't know that there was actual, because I haven't used the word NDA.
Yeah.
So NDA, for anyone who doesn't know, is a non-disclosure agreement, which means that you agree to not disclose things. And that's similar to an embargo where you're not allowed to talk about things until a certain day. And that's kind of more of a sort of gentleman's agreement, right? Whereas an NDA is a thing that you sign, and it's like a contract.
Yeah, like embargo was more of, hey, if you do this, we're probably never going to send you stuff again, and we'll like blacklist you. And NDA is potential legal territory if someone wants to take it that far. But yeah, that it's interesting because you and I spoke, Mike, that like I've known some bits about the GAN 15, but was sworn to secrecy, and then some other people have posted about it. So it's kind of like this. It's always this thing of, I guess, who isn't afraid to speak about it, and then just let GAN or whatever company it is kind of like push their buttons a little bit, and decide if they're actually going to take action against you.
Mm.
So that's kind of been a tough one to navigate. But tomorrow I'll be very excited to try out the GAN 15 and decide if it's as good as people have been saying. I mean, I know kind of old news now, but people are saying it's better than the 12, because I think we can all kind of acknowledge that the 13 was okay. Some people liked it, and then the 14 kind of fell off, and the 14 Pro I don't think did any favors for the reputation
Yeah,
of
that was
the
kind of
GAN 14.
disastrous. Hey, that. I feel like that was um, a really tough position that GAN were in. Like, they had to do something about it because of all the content that had been made about the pops. The 14 was notorious for popping. If you have never had one, I haven't heard. And then they made the 14 Pro, which was essentially them doing the right thing and fixing it, but unfortunately at the same time having to admit that they made kind of a problematic cube.
Yeah. And what stunk about that whole situation is that it took quite a bit of time for the Pro to be completed. So it left a lot of people more time to buy the 14 and generate more complaints and negative press. So I think had the 14 Pro been released a few weeks after the 14, because it was established pretty quickly there was a popping issue, which that is subjective, I will say.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
I I mean, I have had pops on the GAN 14, but it's kind of not something that I would consider. I mean, it's funny because we're in 2024 now, and cubes are so advanced that like whenever you do get a pop, it's kind of like, wow, really? But I don't know. I didn't consider it to be like a widespread issue that necessarily warranted a new release. I would have probably just waited till the GAN 15, since the 14 Pro didn't come out that long ago.
Hmm.
I mean,
They've
good time goes by, but
Here's, do you want some baseless speculation, right? Here's some tinfoil hat stuff. Okay, so the generally we get a flagship GAN cube just before Christmas every year. Hey, generally that's how it goes. The 14, I think, came out a little bit sooner than a lot of us were expecting. It took me by surprise, I think, a bit. It was out, wasn't it out quite a while before Christmas? I can't remember. But anyway,
yeah, let me fact check really quick.
okay. While you're fact checking, I'll go on with my
14, yeah,
conspiracy theory.
sure.
Then they about halfway through the run, the flagship GAN run, you would say, is when the 14 Pro came out.
Hmm.
It feels like they've spent a lot of money, I think, potentially on R&D, new molds, actual properly a new product, like it was a different cube to the GAN 14. They've spent a lot of money. Now we're all looking at the GAN 15 no adjustable magnet thing and going, oh well, no adjustable magnets means less money, right? That means it's going to be not as expensive as a GAN flagship. But they've got money to make back, because I don't know what your sales are like, but no one has asked me for a GAN 14 Pro, and I haven't even stocked them because I'm selling GAN 12s. People want GAN 12s, and that's what I'm stocking. I think they've got money to make back, so I'm waiting to see what the price of the 15 is going to be, is essentially what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, so GAN 14 came out August 8th of 2023.
Okay.
14 Pro came out wow, yeah, April 8th. So,
Solid
well,
six
about six
months.
months. That was a pretty long time to get a fix
Yeah.
out, which yeah, I think was it's easy to say this from where I'm sitting, but feels like it took a little bit too long for that to be acknowledged and fixed. I feel like if they could have just pulled the GAN 14 stock, like bought it back from, us,
Yeah.
and then revisited it. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't think that the 15, I don't think that GAN is going to go backwards as far as pricing.
I think that's a fair assessment. I think that's probably what we're
Yeah.
going to see. I think it's
Yeah.
wishful thinking, potentially, to assume that the flagship GAN will not have a flagship GAN price this time around just because it doesn't have adjustable magnets.
Nope, I completely agree with you on that. So yeah, I think it's going to be normal GAN flagship pricing, probably around $70 to $80 US. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And then it's also kind of just too in general. I mean, I don't know. The fact that now they're going back and really milking that 356 line, which I know people have opinions about. I mean, I don't see it as like a bad thing, but it's sort of, I feel like just as, I don't know, whenever companies release multiple versions, like Moyu just released two more versions of the Weilong V10 AI. I personally despise it because, or like YJS released the Mini 4x4 UV version,
Yeah.
which is cool. And I understand that when it was produced originally, UV coating wasn't really like a thing, especially on big cubes. So I get it. But it also is just sort of a hassle to go back and update old listings. And I don't know, it's like in regards to the Weilong V10, just release them all at once versus releasing two, and then like a month later, two more. It's because
Yeah.
then you always upset people, you know?
Just
People
release the
are gonna
range.
be afraid to buy it. Yeah, exactly. It's like just wait and release it all at once because there's always gonna be somebody that you upset that would have preferred to have bought one of the newer ones and bought one of the ones that was out. So yeah, I don't know. I wish that cubing companies would sort of learn that or take that advice, but wishful thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we're what we're sort of looking at then is the kind of 2021 re-release flood that's happening, which is what did we say? That yeah, so the GAN. This is what we've seen just recently, the GAN 356 UV. So that's the old GAN 356, not the 356ME. It looks like a GAN 356 with black internals, which I know a lot of people will be into because I get a lot of comments on my videos, people whining that they want black internals on the GAN 15 and all that kind of stuff. So that's low key. I think I'd quite like one of them actually though, because I love the 356. It was a great cube, and a UV one would be pretty good. But a lot has happened since the 356.
Well, and considering that the 356M is more expensive than the ME, which is newer, I mean, I understand that. And I don't really think that there's a big. I mean, again, I feel like I deal with so much hardware over time. I'm not like, I couldn't tell you exactly what features were in a cube that came out 5 years ago. That's not my strong suit. My brain is too flooded with a million other things.
Yeah.
But from my understanding, the 356M and ME, like the ME, they don't really have like any huge technological like the ME wasn't a stripped down version of the 356, I don't believe. Is that correct? I'm fact checking myself on that, but it just seems odd that the M is more expensive than the newer cube.
Yes. There is very little consistency in the price of UV coating, is what I've kind of observed. Like some, because if it's just a 356M with UV, then what does it cost to chuck UV on a cube? And similarly, I was looking at actually the Waylong V10 AI because I quite fancy one of them. I'm a bit of a nerd for smart cubes. I kind of like them because they make me practice. And I was looking at them, and there is a huge difference in price between the regular one and the UV coated one. I think like to the was it 30 US or 30 New Zealand dollars? I can't remember if I was looking at US. I might have to jump on your website and take a look. But
Yeah, I'm taking a look right now because yeah, normally it's about a $5 difference between UV and frosted, and yeah, this one is about a $20 difference, which
yeah.
like really surprised me.
Oh,
And yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
right. I'm just switching to US dollars because I was about to talk in a currency that no one except me will understand. V10 AI. Yeah, right. So you've got 20 US dollars is the difference, and there's no other difference.
No. Yeah, it's
That's
I don't
wild.
really know what Moyu's doing. It's like I've always liked Moyu as a company, and I want to continue to endorse them and support them. But I mean, just that whole tactic that they did of just flooding the market with 3x3s, didn't really appreciate that
That
as
was
a store
tough.
owner.
That was tough.
Um, and I just don't think that they understand that they're really potentially hurting their reputation amongst cubers because people are it's like the boy who cried wolf. Every time a new one comes out, it's like, oh well, I'll just wait 2 weeks and they're gonna announce another new one. So
Yeah. I did get a little bit annoyed at Moyu, particularly around the Super Way Long. Because of
with
the
the box
price,
about this big,
bro. The price and the packaging both
yeah.
just really annoyed me because I liked the cube. I thought it was cool. It took them ages to get the light version. By the time the light version came out, it was just like old news. There's I think the V9 was out by that point, or the V10 was already on its way. Too
Yeah.
much, too fast.
Well, it reminds me of those boxes, those packaging. I mean, I don't know if it's different for you in New Zealand, but I can assure you that in the States, I can maybe count on one hand the amount of times I've seen people carrying around like their 21 by 21 around in the briefcase thing that it comes with, or their super way long and their like shopping bag style thing. It reminds me of like Yu-Gi-Oh when like I think it was Kaiba like would slap his huge briefcase on the table, open it up, and have all his cards like his card collection in there. It's like Maybe it's different in China, but nobody does that. And I think
No.
that people like would sincerely appreciate going back to the times where like you get a box with a little flap thing, no accessories in there unless it's actually needed, and then call it a day.
Yeah, that's all we need. Oh, it was gross how much stuff was going in the trash during that period of the Super Waylong. It was a lot. It was a lot. But anyway,
Has the watch cube holder taken off over there?
no,
Because yeah,
no, it
I have yet
absolutely
to see
hasn't.
one in the wild.
Did you really?
I have yet to.
Oh, you've yet to. Okay, I was about to say I don't believe that you've seen one, but now okay, that makes more sense that you haven't seen one.
Yeah.
I knew that cube was
Yeah.
trouble because
So
Chris.
I don't know. It's just
I knew that cube was trouble because Chris Mills happened to be passing through when mine arrived, and he opened my one because I wanted one for myself because I really liked the sound of the cube, but he just immediately broke the watch strap, and I was just like, oh. This is my future. This is my future is dealing with returns of Super Waylong watch straps. I don't love this. Do not love this. But it was a nice cube. I think
yeah. Well, speaking of returns, I mean the amount of I was gonna say the amount of GAN 12 UI returns that we get is like it's ridiculous.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that because I don't know if I've told you about the saga that I had with the GAN eye carry when I had a 50% return rate on the first batch of GAN eye carry. Like half of my shipment came back. Brother. I've still got a bunch of them sitting in my shed, and I'm just like, what am I gonna? I can't throw them out. But the thing is, they're back from the time where smart cubes weren't good cubes. They were good smart cubes. Well, actually, in this case, they weren't even good smart cubes, but they weren't good cubes either. So people don't even want them to use because they're just not very nice. That was tough.
Yeah. What's interesting is with the GAN 12s, we identified pretty quickly a high return rate and defect rate, so we pulled them all off of our shelves, and we're checking every single one. Luckily, the main issue with those is that they don't charge, so we can non-intrusive, like we can kind of open it up and just pop it in there and not really feel like we're super duper opening it and like going through it all and ripping it apart, which is nice. But yeah, we actually had to record a video testing hundreds of them to provide proof to get compensation. So that we have like a dedicated station right now with a little tripod just that records us just sitting there popping GAN 12s into a charger. Doesn't charge.
That's rough.
This one charges. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous, and yeah, kind of funny that like after all these years of business, factories or people think that we are out here trying to get one over on them. But
yeah,
I get it.
Hey, that's quite a good segue into the GAN SSL, I suppose, the Smart Cube Super League. Which just happened in Guangzhou. I'm not very good at that in China, and I later this week on CubeCast, I'm going to be talking to Dylan Miller and Antoine Canton about smart cubes, super leagues, and the general sort of a lot of things about sort of high level cubing stuff. In terms of like high level performance cubing stuff and making a career out of being a very, very good speed cuber and things like that. But what did you think? I don't know how much of it you actually saw, but it was season 3 of it. But what's your take on the Smart Cube sort of bracket style competition that we're seeing? Because it's a big departure from what we're used to. And what's your vibe on it?
I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, I saw bits and pieces of it and think that it's a cool concept. And, GAN does a good job of putting on a show, so to speak. So I think it's cool. I think it is probably here to stay. And I mean, I think that actually using the technology that these cubes offer makes sense. So definitely think it's something I'm supportive of.
I think it's really cool. I like to see when companies put an effort into really demonstrating their products in a way that is fun and engaging, and makes you want to use one. Because that was so. Despite myself, if I'm just putting myself in the space, the headspace of a consumer, right? I feel like I have 3 options with smart cubes. I've got the Chi one, which I love. It's just great. It
Yeah.
does what I need it to
Yep.
do. My only complaint, as I've said many times before, is that it has no alg trainer. Like there's no algorithm academy like the GAN one has. There's the Moyu one, which I have heard really, really good things about the hardware. It's just like a Worm V10. I have heard people complaining about the app, so it's like, well, okay, interesting. We'll see how that goes. And GAN, I've been hurt personally by the hardware through the iCarry. I'm hearing the stuff you're going through with the GAN 12 UI, and despite myself, I'm like, maybe I'll get a GAN, you know? That the SSL looked pretty cool. Like the app looks kind of good. Maybe I can, the battling in there looks pretty fun. I've heard there's lots of bots though. So what I'm saying essentially is, even though I'm on the other end of it and I know I'm going to get hurt by by a GAN Smart Cube, the marketing aspect of it is really effective. And I would like to see Moyu and Chi potentially doing something similar, hey?
Yeah, I agree. It seems like Ganon is the smart cube that you go with for the app. Moyu is the one you go for the hardware, and she is just sort of the more economy option I would go for based on like their less expensive ones. The app is good, but like we established, I think it needs a little bit more features. But the physical cube itself is fantastic. So I just kind of feel like I'll put that one smack in the middle between Ganon and Moyu. But yeah, the Moyu ones are tough because they just make weird decisions. We received cubes at one point that the app was not even in English. So that
That's
was
right. That was the first one, wasn't it?
yeah, and then it happened again though
Oh,
with
did it?
was it the V I don't think it was the V10. I feel like again with all these Moyu releases, I genuinely cannot keep track of them. I'm trying to search and see really quickly, but yeah, it ended up being just an app update, which fortunately isn't too big of a deal. But yeah, it in the short term does cause a lot of frustration and confusion and returns. And yeah, I just don't know why some of these companies feel like the urge, like it's such a big rush to get these things just pumped out and not really produce like a finished, polished product, I guess.
Yeah, I do. I hear what you're saying. I think the app development thing has been a hard thing for these companies to learn because none of
Hmm.
them have
It's a
nailed.
big task.
Oh, it's huge, and you have to know so much about user interfaces and how people interact with their devices and all the standards and things like that. And the apps, every single one of them, feels like cubers trying to make an app, cubers trying to be coders. It doesn't feel like a very what is it I'm trying to say? It doesn't feel like very, very good app developers making a cubing app. It feels like cubers
Yeah.
doing their best to make a cubing app, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they're definitely a bit clunky. The cube I was referring to is the Moyu AI, is what it
Right.
was. Um, that one just was a disaster. Like they released a magnetic version and a non-magnetic version, and the non-magnetic version was like $1 or two less expensive if memory serves. And I just remember thinking, like, who in their right mind would buy the non-magnetic one? And the app wasn't in English, and yeah, but that's an example of where word spread, and I mean that cube, we're probably just going to pull it from our catalog at this point because it just has done so poorly. Now the V10 is out, so yeah, it hurts, I guess.
Yeah,
But
it's it's tough because essentially we're left to test these things on the market. We are left to do the market testing. That non-magnetic one was an insane decision. That was that one I remember now just being like, what are you up to?
yeah, it's that, and that's the whole thing is that with cubing, a lot of people, I've noticed the trend of cube stores cropping up. I know like Australia, you and I have chatted about that, there's a few popping up there, and then we've seen a couple pop up in the States, and people, I mean, I'm not discounting people that want to try it out, but people that get into it thinking it's going to be a cakewalk, you're in for a surprise because there's a lot of back end stuff that maybe now more of it's making it to light because you and I are doing this kind of content, but typically it wasn't. And yeah, it definitely eats up a lot of time and resources. And I mean, there's been examples where I won't name specific factories, but like they've um, given us problems where it's involved us having to spend labor and time to go through and inspect every single product and no compensation. So
Hmm.
I guess I kind of look at it as where, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, we're gonna have to cut this out. I'm just trying to remember. I had a segue there. It felt like
No,
a
leave it
really
in,
good
man.
natural segue.
Leave it in. You
Keep
gotta
it
leave
in.
it in. But that's how we do it here.
Sorry, that's how we do it here
You
at A
know,
Week in Cubing. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Well, I was gonna say it's interesting too that like we're seeing like the Dian Chang Big IV came out. That's kind of an interesting release.
That's
Sheng
very
Chao is
interesting.
on this. They're on this trend of re-releasing like the Killaminx, Terraminx in stickerless when it was previously only available in black plastic, and the price is like 50% less than what the black plastic one was. So it's like, once again, what are you doing? Because if you're not giving us a price reduction on the black plastic, there's no way it's taking 50% more to put stickers on. So it's like, just discontinue it and
Yeah.
just put it out of its misery. Uh, yeah, it's bizarre decisions. And sometimes, we get people asking us, like, what's up with this? They think that we set the pricing. And it's like, hey man, we're just doing the best we can with the tools that we have.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Zenastar is another brand that I'm staring right now at my list of items to list. And I have like a disgustingly long, like 30 item list of only Zenastar. And it's like, I kind of drew a line in the sand a bit because what Zenastar is they just are repackaging Z Cube items, putting them into a arguably nicer box, and boom, it's a new item. So it's like for me, I don't really want to just double up the catalog and cause more confusion. So what I've been doing is just kind of going through and swapping out like Z Cube listings, and just making it the Zenastar. So like the price is the same, but you get the nicer box. I'm not making a secondary listing. And I say that's something that we have to be really wary of because I know that in this day and age of everybody wanting to use Amazon, right, and things like that, you see a lot of that on there. Um, we actually have our own cube, which I sell it on other platforms. And the whole idea with that is I had to spend a lot of money to develop our own packaging, get it tested, get it certified, because what people don't realize is to get a product across borders the right way, you have to have a lot of testing in place for child safety stuff, and you have to have custom certification and documentation, and then you have to have specific indications and markings in the packaging so it could be sold in other places. And yeah, it takes money. So essentially, the cube that we sell is a few dollars more than the non-branded version, but it's like by the time we factor in all the added costs and the fact that they're assembled in the States, it's we actually probably make less on it. It's just what we literally have to do to conform to laws and policies in some of these marketplaces.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. There's a lot more to it than just going product exists now, sell, here's price, there we go, done, see you later. There's a lot more to it. So what I was gonna do, my segue was into some engagement where we're gonna say I'm always interested because I used to love listening to A Week in Cubing, because it was really just nice to hear another store owner yapping about store owner stuff, and I was like, I relate to this. Yay! Finally, I can sort of have a weird parasocial conversation with someone without actually talking. So I'm interested to hear from people. Is it interesting just to hear a couple of store owners talking about store owner stuff? Because it's basically just us on our lunch break going, God, have you heard about this? What a load of noise, you know? So I'm interested
Yeah,
to see if people are keen on it.
yeah, it is always refreshing. So, yeah, I tell Garrett from CanCube all the time that like if anything came out of that acquisition, I think one of my the best things was just being able to have someone that has to listen to me moaning about all the issues. So I'm like, hey man, you're on the clock. Just listen to me for 10 minutes. Just you can it's like you have to listen to me.
You
So
bought a
yeah, not a
cube
lot of
store and
people understand.
a therapist as well.
Yeah, exactly. It really is a difficult industry to navigate. It really, really is. I've seen a few other companies that are larger that come into the space, like Dunkin' Yo-Yo and stuff, and they just can't seem to get a grasp on it, which doesn't surprise me because yeah, it's a weird marketplace.
Yeah,
Moved
it is
very
a strange
quickly
one.
too.
It does move so quickly. Um, Hey, do you want to? I suppose it might be worth explaining. We haven't really gone into why I'm here and like why Jaden's not here. I suppose more to the point. So we should. Do you want to maybe just explain a bit of that so people aren't like,
Yeah,
what is happening?
yeah. So pretty much, Mike and I get on really well, and just an alternate person to do these with whenever I'm doing a wick from home type day. So it's just convenient to have different personalities on, and maybe there'll be times where it'll be Jane and Mike and not me. So just always keeping it fresh.
So yeah, just to be clear, this is not a coup. This is not a. I'm not an aggressive replacement of Jaden or anything like that. Because I love hearing Jaden yap. He's always in my streams as well. Like he's always in the chat and stuff, which is really cool. I've yet to talk to him properly, but I think that'll be an interesting one if it's just me and him. We should just that'll be the first time us talking. We'll just keep it like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, hopefully we'll get a super awkward intro on that one.
Oh yeah, that'd be. We could really ramp that one up. That'd be good. He's always making me try. He's
Yeah.
always trying to get me to listen to Rush, listen to Bon Jovi. I'm not super keen, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, Jaden is like 80 years old
I reckon
internally, like
he's.
kind of like myself, so we can relate on that.
Yeah, nice. Hey, you've got things coming up in Vegas, right? The Cuban Cup.
Yeah, so Cubing Cup, we're halfway through the season on that, which is really cool. For those that aren't familiar, we are keeping points for people that compete in our Vegas Cubing Cup competitions, and it's structured in a way that doesn't just cater to the fast guys. So, if you break a PR, if it's your first comp, you get extra points for things like that to try to help balance out, the guys that are incredibly fast and those that might just be getting into it. So we're trying to make it fun for lots of people. They've had a really great reception, and we have one coming up this weekend. It'll be the first one that Max Park is competing at as a Team SCS member again. So people are pretty excited to see him in action in Vegas and get a fresh set of eyes on him. So that'll be pretty cool. And yeah, we have Subtimi coming out, Captain Cuber, and a few other potential people that are on Team SCS. We're just waiting for him to firm up kind of last minute travel plans. But yeah, that one will be good. I always enjoy the Vegas comps. They're so much fun, and I'm really happy that we've been able to cultivate more of a community in Vegas because, from my understanding, it was essentially non existent prior to us coming here.
Yeah, right. It seems wild to me that in America there are still pockets of like inactivity in cubing. There are still places that don't have as much of a representation because I can't remember I can't remember where the WCA started. It was some uni. I forget which one.
I think Caltech.
Was it
I
Caltech?
think.
Okay.
I believe so. I think it was the Caltech Cubing Club. I used to go to those all the time back in the day. Tyson
Right.
Mao, Lian Lo, Shelly Chang, Shotaro Makasumi, I think. Man, yeah, Bob Burton, all those guys.
Yeah, so it started California's where it started to spread out from,
Hmm.
right? Caltech's in California, right? Forgive me.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep, yep.
cool. See, I know things. I tell you what, I don't know where Las Vegas is. I went to look at it on a map, and I swear, last time I checked, Las Vegas was bang in the middle, like right in the middle of the map of America as you look at it, and it's really not. It's really
No.
not. Hey, I'm
Well, there is Pangea and other things. So maybe it could have shifted around a little bit.
yeah,
So,
maybe.
yeah, who knows?
But I was like,
But
huh,
no,
Colorado's not Las
yeah,
Vegas.
it was surprising though for me to see that relative to how nearby Las Vegas is to California, that there really was so little love for it. And I think that's because most people view Las Vegas as being a tourism city, which it 100% is, but there's also a decent population here. So, and then we have Utah nearby and Arizona surrounding. So it's pretty cool to kind of tie it all together. So yeah, definitely have been really focused on that and happy that people seem to be enjoying it and appreciative of our efforts. So
Yeah, cool.
yeah, it's been a lot of work.
Very cool. So I actually hadn't noticed that it was a cup either. I looked very briefly at it the other day and I didn't
Mhm.
realize it was a sort of rolling thing. So I assume
Yeah.
Max is on top of it, right? Max is running
Well, he's
that.
just now getting into it, so he's actually kind of down at the bottom. So he has two competitions worth to catch up on, and the Cuping Cup was kind of thrown together. It's something I've wanted to do for years, and then I don't know why at the start of the year I just decided that what, this is the year we're going to do it. So it wasn't as polished as I would have liked it to be, as far as having like a fancy website ready to go that was keeping like a live tally and scores. We're kind of doing it on like a Google Sheet right now, which isn't how I would like it, but I
Beautiful.
kind of try to operate under the whole done's better than nothing. Just get it out there and let
Oh,
people enjoy it.
that
So
is
hey, people are having fun.
yeah, no, and I love that. I kind of do love that, and I think that there's quite a. It's an interesting. Okay, I'm going to get a bit philosophical here, but there's a cubing has that vibe about it because it was a get it done, get it out there. Done is better than perfect, as it were. And I feel like that's where things like the WCA came from, and I feel like that's where so many things come from. We're experimenting. We're still young, really, as a pastime. I'm always throwing things out there like in unofficial competition kind of capacity. I did a week cubing, like a cube camp essentially, not on the same scale as Felix and Max did, but it was just essentially a whole week of unofficial cubing. So we would just grind an event one day. We would just do rounds and rounds and rounds of an event one day, and then leading up to the last day where we had just like a whole bunch of events on the same day, and throwing things like that out there, just seeing what the appetite is for stuff like that, seeing what people are willing to pay for it. Is it sustainable? Is it something that's worth doing? All that kind of stuff. And I think that's a really, really good way to do things, is because I do spend a lot of time. I'm kind of a nerd for YouTube, right? I spend a lot of time on YouTube watching lots of things that aren't cubing. But I think for some reason, despite that kind of vibe in cubing as a whole, on YouTube, a lot of people, they don't want to do things unless they're perfect. And I can relate to that as someone who's a bit of a perfectionist, and I've had to work really hard at not being a perfectionist. And I love to see things just getting started. Just start, like perfect is an illusion. Just start things. If you think you can start something and work on it as you go, I think that's a really valuable thing for people to do. Not to sound like too much of a dad and just be like, hey kids, here's the deal. But I think it's a really good frame of mind.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't want to contradict what I said earlier about, Moyu kind of like rushing out. 'Cause maybe they have the same mindset of like rushing out those
Maybe they do.
Bluetooth cubes. So I don't want to contradict myself, but it does feel a bit different. I don't know. But yeah, there's been so many times when I'll lean into it. I'm full blown perfectionist, which I think has helped me, but I think it's also hurt me in some ways. And uh, there's been a lot of times where ideas that I've had, someone will beat me to it because I'm just, obsessively trying to make it perfect. And it's like, oh, well, should have just done it because now I'm going to be the one copying them when I've had the idea. I've been sitting on it for a couple of years now,
Yeah, right.
So nothing worse than that happening. But yeah, it's just it's tough to find that middle ground, because one thing that Jade and I often talk about is part of my anxiety with like whether it's making content or really anything is because people hold me to a certain standard, and maybe you can sympathize with this too, Mike, as like a store owner. But when people look at you as a store owner, they hold you to a certain standard. So it's like if you make a mistake and speak about something incorrectly, then it just kind of looks like you don't know what you're talking about. And sometimes, it can cause a lot of stress because we're all humans, we make mistakes. But yeah, that's definitely a thing. Can you relate to that at all?
I can definitely relate. I deal with it. I deal with it in a way by. I suppose I talk about this on when I'm doing my videos here. It's just like I learn so much from the chat when I'm talking live, and I think that's why I'm better placed doing a live show than a pre-record, because people will correct me in real time if I'm wrong, and I love being corrected. And I think so. My background is I was a radio presenter as well, so like being live, I suppose, is kind of something that is that I've got used to and I've practiced a lot. And being real time correction for me when I'm on YouTube in particular is pretty fun. And also I'm careful about what I say in terms of like, here's the thing, I think this is happening. And this kind of brings us full circle back to the GAN 15, because I've been very careful the way I'm talking about that, because I can't remember at the start of this if we said, but the most surprising advancement from the GAN 15 that I've heard is when I was talking to Chris Mills the other day, just back from the GAN SSL. He tried 15 different prototypes, and the most astounding thing about them, two astounding things. One was that they didn't pop. None of them popped. And the second most astounding thing was there were no adjustable magnets. And I think that's massive. But other people are telling me they have seen adjustable magnets. So all I say is the best information that I have right now in front of me is this. So I've just always got a disclaimer in there that I am not the arbiter of all things, and I'm just doing the best with the information I have at hand, you know?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good way to go about it. I try to do a similar thing, but it doesn't help always ease my anxieties. I don't know. I just hate
Oh
being
no, it's still
I
the
hate
anxiety is
being
still there.
wrong. Yeah, I hate being wrong, not from like a place of like I want to be like a know-it-all, but I just hate feeling like, man, I let someone down. I wish I should have known more about that. So it's tough. I know that you're always your own worst critic, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, with the GAN 15, I am very curious on this one because I think that GAN has a lot riding on it. I think this is the cube that's either going to sort of save their reputation or kind of hurt it more after the GAN 14 Pro because now it's a redemption arc, is what it is.
Yeah, it totally is. It totally is because they've fallen off a little bit. The 13 and 14, I think it's fair to say they've fallen off. People are giving them the side eye. You know, they're just like, well, what are you up to here? And Moyu has been able to nip, 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 just get closer and work their way up that market there. They've done this
Yeah.
saturation strategy of just flooding the market with their products. And they have some good ones in there. You know, the more you make, the more chances you have to have a banger. And I think people are very into the V10. People were into the V9, but then the V10 happened like a month later, as Moyu does. So the V10 seems to be really popular, seems to be landing on a lot of people. GAN need to come back with something that is better than the 12. And they have to do it
Yeah.
now. Like 3 versions later, they have to get it right this time.
Yeah, the Square One. I heard through the grapevine that it's not that great. Like it's not going to be like the best Square One option. People are still sticking to the MGC. That's going to be an interesting one in the 6x6. I'm curious. I presume it'll look relatively similar to their 4x4, which like we mentioned, they have a new one of those coming out too. But it does seem like they're kind of just hitting the ground running with really just lots of new stuff all at one time. And I don't know where that's coming from as far as like, is it out of their own perception of necessity, or are they just rocking and rolling and just have gotten things figured out and are just able to push these things out like nobody's business, or are they feeling the pressure from other factories? I mean, I will say, I want to acknowledge Chi, like good on them. The V4 Tornado is allegedly going to come out in like a week or less.
As quick as that, okay.
So yeah, so that'll be, they're kind of just like, I guess looking to just, well, I have to think because like the translation I was given wasn't a good translation. It was
Because it's
yeah,
Chi.
the translation I was given is that they want to drop a bomb on the market, which I'm like, all right. So I
Okay,
think
it's
they want to make a
aggressive.
splash. I think they want to make a splash
Yeah.
is what they're trying to do, and just kind of come in out of nowhere with it. I did try a Tornado V4. Uh, Pretty interesting stuff. Like the magnet adjustment is like a predator, little Alien versus Predator, like a little triple
Okay.
dot thing
Yeah.
that you can just kind of manipulate, which is interesting. Um, so yeah, that'll be interesting. But I was gonna say though, I give them credit for sticking to their release cycle of like essentially one flagship 3x3 per year. Like it's kind of like an iPhone, like it's going to come out at like this time. They might release a few other 3x3s in between, but I feel like GAN has actually been doing like more with all their variations of the 356. So I feel like
Yeah.
Chi is like the easiest company to not be angry with as far as like, oh, you're releasing too many cubes and I just bought this one or whatever. And then I think we need to give a participation trophy to YJ for their MGC lineup. I saw they
Yeah.
just released the UV coated Evo version 2, and I'm just thinking to myself, you should have just saved the money.
The 3x3
Uh,
Evo. Yeah, nah. Just give up. Sorry.
yeah, and it's a shame because I was a fan of the V1 and the V2. The V2 caught a lot of flack. I liked it. But well, wait, maybe. Oh yeah. Because the MGC, then there's the MGC Evo. That's right. I was gonna say
Yeah.
my speaking here, and then the anxiety we just talked about started to set in. And I had a little nervous breakdown just now.
Embrace it. Embrace
But
it.
but yeah, and maybe the coffee isn't helping with that either.
True.
But yeah, it's kind of sad because I always root for YJ. I've had a good relationship with them. But yeah, I just wish that they could figure something out with their 3x3s. And then Yushin, their new Honglong 3x3. I don't know very much about that. It's going to be listed on our store later today, I presume. I do more research on it. But Yushin, man, I don't know, kind of tisk tisk at them because they're in lots of hot water with allegedly, keyword allegedly, taking designs for twisty puzzles from creators and not giving them credit and just being like, that's mine now.
Ooh, that's
So
not okay.
no, and it's interesting because they one of the people that they confirmed did this to is actually a good friend of mine, and he ended up working out a deal with them after the fact to get that sorted out. But there's another person with the same complaint, and it's like if history kind of means anything, that they probably are in the wrong. But they're actually fighting back with like, oh, here's our date we filed the patent, and it's turning into a whole big thing. And I've decided that until there's like an official ruling on it, then I just kind of need to stay out of it. So
Well,
yeah.
there we are. Yujin are in the doghouse. Participation award for YJ. I've yet to try any of the speed actuator stuff, but I saw a
Oh no.
fantastic video the other day. I think it was Not Me Cubes. Shout out, who I think they got the YJ Apari and just
Mhm.
took the actuators out and were just like, wow, this is amazing now.
See, that's another one. I actually liked the Apari.
Did
I
you?
think
I've not
that
tried it,
I
full
think
disclosure.
yeah, I think that YJ is just like the easy company to bully in the cubing community now because they kind of struck out with 3x3s for so long. And that's where like with GAN, it's like reputation is everything. So I feel like with YJ, they kind of have lost that credibility that they once had. So now it's like when a 3x3 comes out, people assume it's going to not be good and have to be proven wrong. Whereas with a GAN, they're kind of still in that middle ground where people are thinking it's going to be good. Then if it's not good, it's almost like a surprise. So
That is
rooting for you, IJ. Hope you can figure it out.
that is a really interesting observation, actually. Yeah, they always start at a disadvantage with a 3x3. I would love YJ to bring a Ripper 3x3. I think that would be really cool. That would be really
Well, I mean,
good.
the fact that like they came out of left field with these MGC big cubes and those have stood the test of time for years
And the
says a lot
Square
as
One,
well.
they own Square One.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And the square one. So they definitely have their moments. I just don't know what it is with the 3x3s that it almost seems like that they try to like kind of over engineer them a bit, which works against them. Whereas like their big cubes, there's nothing like really like fancy about them. They just do what they're supposed to do and they do it well. I think that maybe if they adopted that practice back into their 3x3s, maybe we'd see better results.
I think you're probably right. Um, I think last observation for me on the manufacturers. I think GAN. I feel like they've been distracted by side quests. I feel like they're side questing, and maybe that side questing has led to them perhaps having some failures in the 13 and 14. I don't know. It lines up in terms of timeline, but then also, yeah, I'm really intrigued with GAN. They're putting a lot of money into events that don't sell a lot of puzzles.
Well, I heard something from a source who wishes to remain anonymous, but
Perfect. My favorite kind.
with GAN, I think a problem that they might have is I sort of blame the 14 issues on the testers.
What?
And
Okay. Wow.
I think that GAN relies heavily on their testers. I know that GAN himself was a speedcuber at one point in time and a pretty notable one. But like you're relying on others to sort of find the flaws. And I think that some of GAN's testers and sponsors are so worried about just saying like making them happy and not wanting to say like, hey, harsh feedback, but like this isn't good and here's what you need to fix. They're too busy being like yes men that it's actually causing products to kind of slip through the cracks a little bit.
That's an interesting observation too. Very, very interesting. That's why they should make Chris Mills a GAN guru, because he will not hold back. They need someone like Chris just being like, nah, this is rubbish. Get this out of here.
Yeah, that would be man, I would love to be a fly on the wall watching him test those prototypes.
Yeah, same. Same. So he worked for me briefly, and he was savage on hardware. Absolutely savage. There was no sugarcoating. And if he ever said something was good, it was like, all right, order 10 cases immediately. Let's go. Because I know this is going to go.
Yeah, we all need a Chris in our life.
I think so.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, but yeah.
So we've been yapping for like 50 minutes now. We should probably think about wrapping it up. Hey, otherwise no one's going to watch this far in the video.
Yeah, we should just start dumping juicy discount codes throughout the video. So it's
To
like the
keep that
longer you
engagement.
go. Yeah, but I don't know. I guess just the last thing to touch on is like our Halloween stuff is finally going to get released,
Of
and before
course.
people complain in the comments that oh, it's only August, why are you releasing Halloween stuff? It's like people have to remember that it takes time to get stuff manufactured. We have to order it ahead of time. There could be delays. It could arrive early, and also we're an international business, so you have to give people time to receive it if they're picking that economy shipping and give them time to enjoy it leading up to the holiday. It's not much fun if you get a Halloween cube and only have a couple days to enjoy it leading up to Halloween.
Yeah.
So,
So what have you got in the range this year? There's usually is it the same lube as usual?
yep. So the biggest change that we did this year was the cube. I went orange external plastic with purple internals, and then
Ooh,
we
okay.
did UV printed stickers this year. So typically we do actual like vinyl decals, vinyl stickers, and works well. But this year I decided that if we UV printed stickers onto the cube, it'll give it that same look, but it will be more durable and it gives a little bit more flexibility with kind of the designs that we do. So you'll see that and it looks pretty cool.
Very cool. Excited to see that. Cool. Should we wrap it
Yeah,
up then, do you reckon?
let's wrap it up. And the next AWIC will be a lot cleaner, more polished. We're getting our studio all redesigned to be all fancy for live streams and stuff. So
Hmm.
yeah, that'll be the next one, and better quality audio. Won't be AWICing it from home, and yeah, looking forward to it.
And the
Maybe
idea
we have a
is,
triple AWIC and get Jaden in here too, so it could be like a trifecta.
wow, yeah, yeah. So the idea is to get them more regular. Hey, that's kind of that's one of your big dreams, right? Is to have them weekly.
Yeah, and we were doing it for a while, and then just life happens. I know that Jaden got sick. I was traveling, and yeah, we got to find a way to keep it as a week in cubing, not a couple months in cubing.
Well, we'll see if we can do that. We'll see if we can keep up that momentum. Can I drop a plug for my channel? Is that acceptable?
You can. I'll just bill you after. Go
Yep,
for it.
marvelous. Okay, I'll expect your invoice. Yeah, go and follow me at SpeedCubeNZ. Cubecast is my weekly video podcast that I do over there, and then I do pretty much daily videos at the moment from that as well. So you can go and head over there, drop a sub, and do all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one. Obviously, let us know in the comments down below what you think about any of these topics. Next AWIC, we're going to try to do a live stream format. And I think that'll be the way we keep doing it moving forward. So that way you can be a part of the discussion live. So yeah, look forward to that. And thanks all for watching.